Kev got it.
That's a good light, yeah, just.
Yeah.
just
Well, Kev told me to clap twice, so.
That's right.
2021.
Yeah, it goes grabbing that. You're not there.
Joe,
Season, Mexican season, you put on like, they put on fruits.
Joe, can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
You can hear me?
Yep.
What's the number?
What?
No, I don't care about participants. What was your number today?
Not good.
Oh, okay, so when it's not good, you're still supposed, you can't just tell me when it's good.
4-8,
All right.
not good.
Hello, everybody.
It's a little too hot, I think.
I always
Blame the weather.
Chip,
Hi,
how's
Ray.
everything in Rockport? Chip,
Excuse me?
how's everything in Rockport?
Very hot, very muggy, very rainy right now.
We had a wonderful day up there yesterday. It was wonderful yesterday, touring around. Me and my, it was just a wonderful place to be yesterday.
Yesterday was a gorgeous day.
I just had a major storm pass by, lightning, thunder, hard rain. Looks like it just passed though. I was afraid I was gonna lose power.
They're all over there, up here now too. Very, very hot, very muggy. Aren't we in whatever they call the heat dome now or something?
Oh, I don't know.
And tornado warnings are western ones.
So far, we haven't got it much at all, but I'm sure it's coming.
It looks pretty blue behind you.
Yeah, it's not too bad. But you keep hearing it in the distance, you know?
It's all around.
Yeah, it's all around. So Mark is gonna be here, I think.
Mark said he was joining and
I never heard, we never heard from Tom.
Did we hear from Aaron?
Aaron's
Aaron's
gonna
coming,
join.
yep.
Oh, there's.
Bill,
I thought he
Bill.
was out of the country.
Bill,
Whoa, I just walked in from the airport.
Which way? Are you international or are you back in Wakefield?
I just got back from Scotland.
Oh, awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna be able to make the 24th meeting if that one was held. Tonight,
Ah.
I knew I'd be, if there was a delay, I wouldn't have made it, but we got in right before the storm, so.
Oh, awesome. Good.
all
So what
right.
do you think it is, like 3 AM or do you think it's?
No, it's only 5 hours, so it's
Oh.
midnight, which is fine, so.
How was your trip?
It's great. You ever been to Scotland? I definitely would recommend it.
Really?
Yeah, really nice.
Bill, did you go to Balmoral Castle?
No, we didn't. We went to Edinburgh Castle. We went up to Inverness in the Highlands for 4 days.
See the
and
Loch
then-
Ness Monster?
We didn't. I hear only those who imbibe in too much whiskey see the monster. So
So you saw it, huh?
yeah,
You,
bunch of what we learned was a bunch of drunk priests in the 1500s came up with that story. So
oh,
let's get a set up here.
All right, we got a quorum. Nope. John made it.
Good evening.
Yeah, John, I thought you were gonna be late.
I made it by the skin of my teeth here.
There you go.
John,
Aaron?
do you have the same story Phil has that he just got in from Scotland? Where did you just get it?
I unfortunately nowhere as exotic. I was just in Boston.
Oh, John,
Yeah,
stop.
I know. I need to step up my game.
Yeah, really, I mean, All right, you want to start? We have a quorum, it's 7 o'clock.
Okay. We just
Is
have,
there
Wanna
any
ask if we
public
could-
participation? Anyone wants to engage in public participation? Seeing and hearing none. Lynn?
okay, we just have a few things on the agenda. Approval of the meeting minutes from July 13th. Review of the July 2023 invoices, a quick budget update, and to talk about some remaining potential cost and what we think we can cover. So first up is the meeting minutes.
I move that we approve July 13th, 2023 PVC meeting minutes.
There a second?
Second,
Thank you, Wayne. Any
Okay.
discussion? Regarding the minutes? Hearing none. Any objection to approving the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved.
And the July invoices, this month we have construction invoice from Bond, technology invoice from Wakefield IT, a couple of automated logic invoices and an invoice from Wakefield DPW. The IT is all the IT for the entire project. The two invoices from Automatic Logic are the ones that we had previously committed and agreed to pay for. There are two others that we'll talk about later. And then the Wakefield DPW is personnel costs for some of the HVAC issues that they assisted on.
Okay, so I move that we approve bond construction invoice number 19 for the sum of $322,599.23.
There a
Second,
second? Thank you. Thanks, Tom.
Lynn,
Any
before we,
discussion?
yes, does this take into consideration some of the retainage?
Jonathan?
Yes,
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
yes.
Can you just run through quickly where we're at with that and what you're looking for and when you're looking for the rest of it?
Jonathan, do you have it in front of you? Because I'd have to stop sharing my screen to get to it.
Just a second and I can't.
It can be just discussion, not,
John, if maybe I'll try and then see if there's more detail needed. I think we're down to in the tens of thousands of dollars on remaining punch list and open items, and the bulk of the remaining 361 that's left is extended general conditions and hold transfers and that kind of thing. So not hold transfers, but basically the last change order that we haven't set up yet. So with respect to what's left in holding and retainage, we're down to only about $10,000 or $20,000 worth of items. And some of the subs haven't even asked the bill down to that yet. So we're way ahead of the subs still with retainage, but we are dropping it quite a bit now.
All right,
thank you.
any other questions or comments? On the vote, Chip,
Yes,
Wayne,
yes,
Mark,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
Thank you. John?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
I move that we approve the Wakefield IT department for the sum of $42,016.49.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Chip?
Yes.
Wayne?
yes,
Mark?
Yes.
Bill? Bill? Still in Scotland. John?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
I move that we approve automated logic. Actually, before we do this, Lynn keeps referring to other items that we may want to spend money on. What has happened is that at the end of the project, when we saw that there was some monies available, we met with Phil, Joe, and I, the working group met with Chris Pierce and walked the building and got the wish list with everything that the town wanted to do that was above and beyond the project. And with automated logic, you may remember that we said we would split it. So they've requested that we pay both sides of it, and I would recommend that we don't. So if we're gonna go through the list that at the end of all the things that they've requested, I also would put a caveat to it that we can't do it or can't approve to do anything until we know exactly how much money we're gonna have left. So with that, I move that we approve the automated logic invoice number 451207 for $31,931.87.
Second.
Any discussion? So Chip, this one is okay to approve.
This is for the police side.
This is police side, okay.
Right, and what actually, if I remember totally right, we took this 12,000 and 1,000 that was extra. And I'd have to go back through the notes, but said, okay, we'll spend all of this. And you come up with the 30,000 more that needs to happen.
So this amount totals $42,575 and whatever odd cents. This is the amount that we committed a long time ago that we said that we would pay for automatic logic. And because I had an invoice for them, I included them. I included the two invoices that totaled that amount.
Right,
Two other ones that we'll look at a little bit later.
yeah, and I'm not sure, Lynn, until we go back through the records as to if we didn't say if we spent all of our budget, including that 12,000, that they only had to come up with 34. But I'd have to go back and look, but we can talk about it as a whole at the end. So at this point, I would just approve the police side.
Well, I think you need to approve both of these and I'll tell you.
Well, they
why.
are, they're both the police side.
That's right.
Oh, but you didn't, okay, I'm sorry, you didn't say the other one yet.
Nope.
Any other questions or comments?
Can I just ask Chip, who is they that you keep referring to? Is it that has to come up with the other half that you're talking about?
DPW,
Oh, okay. Got it. Thanks.
it's the town.
The town. Got it.
Sorry, good question.
Any other questions, comments? All right, vote. Chip,
Yes,
Wayne,
yes,
Mark,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
unanimous.
all right, I move that we approve the second automated logic invoice for the balance of the police side. Invoice number 460101 for the sum of $10,643.95.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Chip,
Yes,
Wayne,
yes,
Mark,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
unanimous.
I move that we approve the Wakefield DPW invoice BUL 72523 for the sum of $1,574.08.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, can somebody explain what is that for?
I can. A couple weeks back, we were having problems with the new chiller. It was tripping on low flow. And some folks from the Wakefield DPW had to go in off hours to reset the chiller, and they that's what these charges are. And we've since worked out the issue with the chiller that was tripping.
Is that under warranty?
Yeah, I mean, definitely under warranty. You could argue that it was getting it right as part of the main project too. But either way, we worked through it with Bond and NB Kenny and got it figured out.
Well, so you got it figured out with Bond, but I'm going back to Wayne's issue. Is that why wouldn't NB Kenny be picking this up?
Oh, the overtime back as a back charge.
Yeah,
I didn't consider that, Chip.
I mean, this sounds to me like it's totally on them. Unless Bond wants to somehow justify that it isn't.
I would say that I wouldn't justify that it isn't. I would say NB Kenny is going to ask if they were called to make the investigation prior to DPW coming out. They're going to want to have at least had the ability to do that. I'm not sure that happened. So
How did this all occur? I'm not even aware of this.
I wasn't aware of this happening either, but I would assume that NB Kenny would have come out on an emergency call had they been notified first.
So who notified who, guys?
The chiller tripped. Automated Logic has a contract on the building with the town, and notified by way of Automated Logic.
Okay,
I have trouble with this one. I'm confused by it.
well, do you want to
I mean, it's small enough. that you could-
move the table till we
I'll
get more
move to pay
information?
it, but what concerns me more is the process. Right? That we have a building, the building's under construction, we're still in a warranty period, and somehow we're getting charged, the project's getting charged for DPW making the decision to come out and look at it. And Automated Logic somehow making the decision to call the DPW. I mean, talk about nobody having the right to do any of that or the right processes in place.
I think it's because Automatic Logic has a contract with the town. But they didn't separate that distinction between the construction project and the town's contract.
They also have.
So we kind of got caught in the middle of it.
No, and NB Kenny was involved. I feel like we need, this is a learning lesson that we need some sort of hit sheet for any emergencies or problems with all the new equipment on who needs to be called.
We do have that now. That did come out of this, Phil, is that we had a warranty list established. But you know, I think one time it was late on a Friday night, and another time might have been a Sunday during the day. And
The same weekend,
no, I don't think so.
then I do not recommend approval.
Okay.
And I guess what I'm more concerned about is you guys put this on the list and kind of say, yeah, this is okay.
Well, I think in my
Defend it.
opinion, I thought that it occurred around the same weekend, same time frame, and that it was we sort of got caught in the middle of a town contract and a construction contract. And I don't think there's a way we could force the bond to back charge automated logic on this, in this case. And then, you know, from the town side, I'm not sure why they put the invoice in, but
Neither am I, so we're denying it.
I agree. I mean, this should not be our,
Well, it is my suggestion we deny it, but
I agree.
and vote how they want to.
This should be under the contractor or under warranty or something. I don't care if it's 24 hours a day, but someone should be responsible and not the taxpayers.
All right,
Had,
any other questions?
had Bond and NB Kenny been contacted, we would have come out there on an emergency call. That didn't happen, Wayne. That's the issue. We can't back charge NB Kenny for something they weren't notified of.
Why not?
No, because, no, I'm not looking for a back charge. I think if automated, that this is between the town and automated logic to pay. If they felt this was the right way to handle it. This is not a project expense.
How would something like this be paid outside of a contract situation?
In the
Like,
DPW.
then why,
Through DPW and through automated logic's contract with them.
yeah, it doesn't sound like a capital expense.
No,
I feel like
No, I-
DPW should have asked, like, if this was a warranty item and redirected the call to
Right.
the right, knowing the project was ongoing still. But I feel the town should pick it up.
I agree.
All right, we'll pull it back and I'll talk about it with Bond and DPW.
You want to move to table the motion, Mr. Tarbell?
No, I would actually like to move the vote
Okay,
and make sure that we say, no, we're not
all right.
covering.
Chip,
No,
Wayne,
No,
Mark,
No,
Phil,
No.
John,
No,
Aaron,
No.
Tom?
No.
Oh, it's a unanimous no. I like it.
that might be the first time ever.
Yeah. That could be. However, let's get no habit of that. I don't
that's our
know.
first time.
Yeah. All right. All right, Lynn.
okay, next is, I was just gonna explain that, I had to move $1,507 or 40, whatever that amount was for DPW. I had to move it from the owner's contingency, which
Not
reduced,
anymore.
yeah, which reduced the owner's contingency to 15,881. So we're 99% committed and 97% expended. I'll reverse those actions and we'll have another 1,500 and something left. So again, I was just trying to indicate here how much we had left on the contingencies. Oh, sorry. And with the contingencies, I didn't have a report from Bond, but I did talk to Dave and they said they had roughly around 10,000 plus or minus of change orders left. I mean, of extra money left. So I sort of factor that into the next page. So we have remaining uncommitted funds of $111,833.09. If we have about 10,000 left in the GMP, we can add that to the remaining funds. We did have a $54,000 amount that DPW promised us at one point. We never moved that money into the project budget, so I'm highlighting that for a reason. The rest of these are potential expenditures that I had, which totals $190,000, $190,459.18.
Lynn,
So-
can I pick up the pieces on this since I was involved in most of the yellow as Joe and Phil were?
Yeah,
Okay, so the 54,000, we've already told the town we're not taking from them. Okay, so just the 54,000 is back on their docket. Now, we have often said that the 54,000 that we didn't take from them could pay the 30,000 and 10,000 for automated logic. So I'm gonna just talk in rough numbers. That comes about to $41,262.18. So think about that 54 being used for that. Then there's a duct cleaning proposal for Wakefield Police Department and Wakefield Fire, which comes to $75,850. I don't have the split right in front of me, but if one of you guys do, it's like 44 for the police department and then another chunk for the fire department. So given that, I would not say that our responsibility is at all for cleaning the ducts out of this project on the fire department. I would suggest, however, that cleaning the ducts on the police department is very important for us to do out of this project. I don't know if you guys have heard it or not, but when the AC units turn on, black stuff spews out of some of them into different and covers desks and tables and stuff. You know, we have a problem in town of doing maintenance on our buildings, and this is one of those places that it kind of falls down. They do a good job, but you know, sometimes, as we've noticed in a lot of these AC units and everything else during this project, there's a lot of deferred maintenance that actually happens. Then there's, you know, this kind of all started when we looked at there were a number of spots that painting really needed to occur both in the police department and fire department that were part of the project but kind of missed. You know, weren't absolutely touched, but certainly touched all sides. Like there's a back hallway, you know, the building doesn't look crisp when you walk through it. So that's the painting one.
And Chip,
Yeah,
Chip, I just want to add, a lot of that I think was due to construct, you know, we had over a year of construction in and out of stairways and air, you know, it just, so it wasn't part of the scope of work, so it wasn't included in the bid. But after the project got done, it was really obvious that these areas of high traffic during construction really needed a paint job.
yeah. The wind supply installed by the town is for the third floor water cooler, which is there's an old water cooler now. And people say nobody drinks out of a bubbler. They all want the water bottle filler type. And this would be supplying the water bottle filler on the third floor, the administrative offices. And the town would then install it. The additional furniture is for a spare office, and their hope would be to get furniture that matches the rest of the furniture. The repainting of the booking room floor, if you walk through from where we did work into the Sally Port where we did work, the floor is literally coming up in a number of places. Now, many people would say, well, just be painted, just paint it. It actually has to be painted by a company called Detention Painting Services because there's standards that have to happen within the booking room. Who would have known? In the overhead door, that's the door from outside into the underground park or below building parking that sticks, jams, and often is unusable. So they got police cars being stuck inside until they jimmy rig it and get it opened. The AC unit in the computer room was what I would consider something that was possibly missed in the scope of everything, is that this is for a split unit to keep the computer room cool. We did not take that into consideration. And then there's a little floor stripping and whatnot. So that needs to get done. So if you take the 121,000 remaining, you take off the first two and just tell the town they have, oh, and the last request that's not on here is to make the public, what's the public room, what's it called?
Community.
Room.
The
Yeah.
community room. uh, meeting accessible for
A hybrid,
Zoom.
right?
So
Was that not covered in the IT?
no, the IT, the 42,000 in IT was everything that Todd Bowden did with no labor. That's all material, that's all materials, the TVs that he installed and all of that. So the community room was never looked at. So it hasn't been touched. So when we first thought there might be a little bit money left over, one of the things that was requested by the town was to use so even take it back step. We didn't know we were going to get the charge of 42,000 from the IT department till last week. Adam had requested, I don't know how many times from Todd to get that number. And then he finally gave it to us. The request came from the town that said, well, if you're not getting invoiced by them for everything they've done, use that money to do the public common room. But now we've been requested that, so it's now coming out of the project, which I think is the right place for it to come out of. So the question is, how do we spend the 121,000?
Can I just tell you my thoughts on why I did this the way I did? I thought that with the 54,000 not being put into our budget, maybe we could ask DPW to go out and try to get a better proposal for the duct cleaning and use that money. And then whatever money we have left over from all the yellow, which is 114,547, the remainder, which is about 7,000 something, we could give them as well for the duct cleaning, which puts us up at about 61,000 out of that 75,000. And I thought that way we could cover everything. And I think they had 61,000 to do the duct cleaning. That was kind of my idea of trying to cover everything that I had. But
so the duct cleaning is the town's proposal. That's not Bond's proposal. The duct cleaning is from the town's cleaning people. So really what
I've just known we've had it done for a lot cheaper before. That's the only reason I said that and thought that there should be able to get that 75,000 down to 61,000. And that was my whole rationale for putting this together the way that I did. I didn't know that there was another proposal out there for making the community room accessible, IT access or.
No, so I actually wasn't ready to talk to this tonight. Because what I was hoping is that we would find out what our real bottom line number was. And then outside of because you were trying to close the project.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
So
I guess
none of these yellows fall under the project. So the real bottom line is you tell us exactly what you're closing the project with, and then we as the PBC can decide what of these projects to spend the money on.
I like that approach. We get our bottom line and then we deal with these other issues.
Right, and the 54, as far as I'm concerned, comes off of all of our spreadsheets, because we can talk about it and talk towards it, but it should not, we've already said we're not taking it. Now we can tell them, because we're not taking it, we think you should pay for XYZ.
Right, right.
But what I think we should do is table all of this. Let Lynn close out the budget with the 111 and 10 or wherever we end up. And then we can go through the list, however we do it as a PBC, and decide, and a discussion with the town as to where they think. Now, I know that Adam is adamant about the duct cleaning, because he totally believes that a number of the HVAC issues are based and stemmed off of this. So he would put that as he's told me he would put that as a number one priority. But again, what I would be in favor of tonight is tabling all this. Let Lynn close out the project. Once we close out the project, we'll know exactly how much money is left. And then we, as the PBC, can look at these projects and prioritize them. And quite frankly, review them with Chris Pierce and the town and say, okay, guys, how do you want to move forward?
I think it's an excellent idea. Anybody else?
Could I throw something out there?
Yep, go ahead.
Duct cleaning. Can anybody tell me when the last time it was done? And
Probably never.
where does this number come from?
The proposal came from a company that Chris Pierce uses to do duct cleaning. And there's, I don't have it in front of me, Wayne, but there's one number for the fire department, one for the police department, and one
The
for the fire.
terminology you use about deferred maintenance. I got a problem with that, being a taxpayer and a retired facilities director for another public school. We didn't do deferred maintenance. We put it in the budget someplace. We didn't just forget about it. I'm just amazed at the dollar figure. It's never been done. Can anybody answer that?
Not this group.
We're not the DPW, so I can't.
You know, I think we can tell you that they're really dirty and they need to get done. I would be looking for a commitment from the town if we're gonna hand that to them, that they commit to getting it done as soon as possible, because it's pretty, it's not acceptable in the condition it's at now. And my understanding when we took this project over is a lot of the registers were showing a lot of this black. It really needs to get done. And I understand this is more of a town issue than a project issue, but like Chip, I think we need a full accounting of the project and fuller discussion with the town involved on these other items.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else?
Can I ask a question? I don't see the IT in this list. Is there a reason for that?
Which IT?
What IT?
We
The
finally,
42,000 was, we just approved it in the regular budget.
that was already, so that's already accounted for in these numbers.
Yeah, so the 42 from Todd for his work has been taken out of the budget. Our side of the automated logic has been taken out of the budget.
Okay.
Lynn?
Yes,
Yeah, how soon can we get a real number, do you think?
it's up to Bond.
We're gonna have final PCOs submitted by this time next week, if not sooner.
All right, so by August 10th, we would have our next meeting, we would have a final number, and then we can have this discussion about potential projects.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Yeah, and in the meantime, people can think about this list and where they would prioritize things and how they would want to discuss it with the town.
Okay. All right, anybody else? All right, Lynn?
Okay, with that, all I wanted to say is the next PBC meeting is August 10th.
All right,
With that, that concludes the.
anybody else in the public safety before we roll to the high school? Okay, let's go to the high school.
Can you see it?
Yep, I see your screen. There you go. There it is.
Okay. So Wakefield Memorial High School project. The agenda will go through some of the administrative actions. We'll give you a project update and where we landed with the design development cost estimating process. We'll go through the content of the design development submission, and then we'll ask if everyone's comfortable voting to approve that we submit the design development submission on August 1st, and then review upcoming meetings. So the first is the meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the July 13th, 2023 Permanent Building Committee, School Building Committee meeting minutes as written.
Second. Any discussion, questions, concerns? Hearing none. Are there any opposition to approving the meeting minutes of July 13th, 2023 of the PBC School Building Committee? Hearing none, they're approved.
Next, we had an additional invoice that didn't make it into the June invoices. This is for the consultants, SMMA's consultants that did a lot of the due diligence work, both in the schematic design phase and then this early design development phase that we wanted to. Particularly, we wanted to get the ones that we are charging to the schematic design budget in here before we submitted the design development package. So this invoice is one invoice from SMMA that's broken down into each of the individual consultants.
Can we just do it as one invoice, Chip?
No, because they're different propay codes. So we have to do each one, don't we?
Is that right, Lynn?
Don't we, Lynn? That's how we've always done it.
But it's good, and it doesn't hurt to do it.
Okay, so, well, what I can do is I can read it all off as individual ones and then with the total
Okay,
and just have one vote.
all right.
So I move that we approve all under invoice 59617 for SMMA, the hazmat sampling and analysis for $13,052.27. The traffic specialty pre-development consulting fees for $9,003.94. The traffic consulting design development work for the sum of $4,268.88, and the wetland delineation and permitting cost of $2,557.50 for a total of invoice 59617 for $28,882.59.
Second.
Any questions or discussion or comments? Hearing none. Chip,
Yes.
Wayne,
Yes,
Mark,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
unanimous.
Okay, so we went through an estimating process for most of the month of July. We had two estimators, PM&C, who is SMMA's cost consultant, and then Bond's estimating team. The construction estimates came back after a reconciliation process just under our budget, our construction budget that we had, that's carried in the total project budget. That number is $220,459.79, or $379 is the actual budget we were trying to hit. PM&C came in about 7,000 less than that at $220,452,789, and Bond's estimate came in at $220,382,282. These estimates were reconciled to within a 1% variance, which is a requirement by MSBA. So this shows how the cost comparison, which we did provide you in your packet, shows the variances in each of the various categories between the two estimates. But they're, again, they range from $848.39 a square foot to $848.12 a square foot. So it's very tight. Does anybody have any questions before I move to the next slide?
Okay, go ahead, Lynn.
Okay, so this is just taking Bond's estimate and kind of breaking it down just a little bit further. The direct building costs are $177,892,742. And then we have a series of general requirements, general conditions, and the CM fee, which is really the cost of implementing the work. And then we have contingencies. We still carrying a design and pricing contingency of around 4+%. We're carrying a GMP contingency and an escalation contingency also, I think around 4%. The contingencies in this budget are $19,260,028. And then we have the insurances and bonds shown here. And these are fairly industry standard pretty much in terms of percentage of the overall construction. So that's kind of how the cost of the breakdown in the various categories. Does anybody have any?
Any questions?
Yeah, Lynn, we're figuring that we're gonna bid this in 2024, right? So like a year from now, we should be well into the bidding of it. Is that escalation at 4%, figuring? I mean, I thought things were going up 2.5%, 3%. Are you comfortable that? I mean, it doesn't matter because if we don't spend it, it goes back to the town anyway. So are you comfortable with the 19 million in those three contingencies?
I think we are, unless something changes from what we're seeing. I think we're good with where we are with escalation and what we're continuing to carry and design and pricing.
Well, I can tell you, this is the best project that we've gone into at this point, because normally when we go to VE, as you may remember, we start here and work backwards.
Exactly.
So, and all these other past projects was that, oh, we'll take a little bit out of this contingency, and well, no, the design's pretty good at this point, so we'll take a little bit out of that. So I'm excited that we didn't have to touch these to get under budget.
Right, and the reason we carry the design and pricing contingency is because the drawings aren't complete yet, so that 7.5 million will eventually get absorbed into the overall cost of the project. And then same with the escalation. The escalation will get absorbed into the cost as well, but we're hoping to maintain the GMP contingency, which is a contingency inside the construction cost. We're hoping to maintain it at this amount for the duration.
Bill, you had a question?
Yeah, the GMP contingency, you said they're all around 4%, but it's only at 4.3. The others are like
No,
7 different.
right, yeah. The design and pricing is just over 4%, and the escalation's at 4%, and the GMP contingency is, I think, about 2.5%.
And these standard percentages in these projects, who comes up with these percentages?
These are fairly, I mean, well, it depends on the level of detail of the drawings. Sometimes we carry a higher design and pricing contingency, but there's been a lot of work with SMMA and bond. And I think there's a very good understanding of the scope of the project. So I think that the 4% that we're carrying under design and pricing is good at this point. And the escalation is what we're seeing for the next, I think we're less than a year away from bidding. So we feel confident that the 4% will get us there, and with any inflation between now and then.
It seems low to me. I don't know. Chip was just saying the opposite. Chip, you're thinking escalation. Why do I think 4% in today's construction world seems really low?
Between now and next April.
Yeah, like
Well,
last April.
Things have really leveled off.
Well, we're
Well,
putting
I-
out a packet. We're putting out a packet in November or
November,
October, November timeframe. We're putting another one out in February, and the final bid package, I believe, is I want to say, I can't remember.
April. Yep.
April.
Yeah, but Phil, what I was saying earlier is we have on the Galvin, and certainly this time is different. We've had to dip into these contingencies that everybody wanted to carry at the 2.5%, 3% for GMP, 4% for design and escalation. We were lower at the Galvin, and then when it came to VE, we dipped into these saying, well, we better be good because we need this money now to be under budget. So I'm excited that we didn't have to touch these And that, and the other beautiful part of this, which is why you do CM at risk, is that you got SMMA and bond having worked together hand in hand to come up with these numbers, and they're both comfortable with them, as compared to just having SMMA put out a set of drawings and hoping for the best.
Right, hold your breath.
Yeah.
The CM, so my last question, the CM fee, is that a pre-negotiated fee or is that a percentage based on the direct building costs?
It is a percentage based on the contract, which is, it's a number carried in the contract.
And that's to bond?
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Are any other questions or comments?
Yeah, just a quick question for Wayne. I'm just wondering, we never got any, we didn't need to, I guess, consider any VE items. And we, as a committee, is it something we should think about? Could we save some money by considering some VE items, or? we never
Just,
talk about it?
we do have a few items to talk about later on. But I will say that I think we did a really good job getting everything that got thrown on this, the plate of this project after we submitted our schematic design, to be able to incorporate all of that inside the budget. So, it just,
I mean, the way I also look at this is the town has approved a $220 million budget. We did it at town meeting. This is not a fancy building. There's not a lot of bells and whistles in it. It's a good building. It's a nice building. But I'm comfortable that if we can build this building for budget or under budget and on time, then we've done a great job, and that we've already vetted this through all the SMMA meetings and how are presenting the plans as a design that meets all the things that have been discussed. So to go back, Wayne, and start nickel and diming it now for a few dollars on the VE side, I don't think makes sense at this point. You know, we may have to look at it when we actually get bid numbers back. But at this point, I think we just keep moving on.
Right,
And-
that's
And
what I thought.
understand where there potentially could be some VE if we needed to, but not have a whole lot of discussion on it, just kind of know what they're thinking if something were to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think there may be in the future, we may need to do some VE, but as of right now, at this stage, I don't think it's necessary.
plus we're only halfway through the construction documents, so we have some time to go.
Right. Any questions or other questions or comments? All right, Lynn?
So, there are a few things that, we've been talking about all along that we wanted to keep track of what the cost of them individually were. So this is a list of those items. We had culvert work, which we knew about on site, but we also were asked to do some culvert replacement work to the north, which is across Hemlock Road over to Wakefield. And then we were also asked to do some culvert replacement to the other direction across Burnettfield to the head wall. I hope I got the directions from north and south right, but
You did.
but
South is Hemlock Road, north is the
Yeah.
ball field.
right. So anyway, so we had those broken out. We have been able, all of these breakout costs are included within the construction costs that I just presented to you. And we also, the improvements for the upper parking lot, expanding that is included here, as well as during the course of design, we realized that we had some additional ground improvements that had to be done for the foundation of the school. We also have lightning protection in here. I don't know if you guys remember when we took the lightning protection away from Galvin and then we had a lightning strike.
I do.
Remember that?
Speaking of VE,
Yes, so So, so we do.
You don't have to remind us of some of our better moments, okay, Lynn?
Yeah, but we do have it included in the cost, but it's here as a separate item as well. Then the Hemlock Road relocation and roundabout, and then the cost of WCAT studio. All of these breakout items again are total $16,216,134.
Any questions or comments on the breakouts?
I just have a question, and I think I know the answer to this. So I understand these are all in the 220 million, so that's great. Are these on the list of items that would not be at all reimbursable? When we went through the whole thing on what's reimbursable, what's not with the MSBA, is that what these all are?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
The ground improvements and the lightning protection would be reimbursable.
Oh,
up
okay.
to the-
Up to a percentage, right?
Right, to
And
the,
maybe some
cost
of
per
the
square foot.
shell of WCAT.
and some, well, no, because that square footage is all
Yeah,
taken
no,
out.
that's not gonna be.
Okay.
Everything else
Carved
will
out.
be 100% on the town.
got it. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just, there's a
Yeah.
huge in the alternate numbers. I'm just wondering, like, what were alternates 2, 3? Like, are there any more than 6? Like, how many alternates were part of the bid package, and how many? Why aren't all of them shown in this graph?
I think that 2 and 3 ended up not being carried as alternates or value engineering opportunities. So they got dropped off, and this was just to keep it consistent with some of the naming. I can't remember what.
Yeah,
were.
Lynn, I think it was that there was a misunderstanding about what things were breakout costs, which was the list you just saw, versus things that might be added back in. So I think this was just a course correction from what the estimators had assumed.
And so like number 6, which I don't really understand what the difference is, but so it's a plus 1.3 alternate. Is that included in the construction costs we just looked at, or are these still?
No, so these
Okay.
are truly adds if we wanted to make changes,
Okay, and do
adds
we
or subtractions, sorry.
deduct or adds, and do we
Mhm.
need decisions tonight on these?
No, Phil, this would be discussions once the construction numbers come back in to
Yeah.
see whether there's dollars to be spent on this or not.
Yeah, just the ground improvement, the number 6 is just interesting on how much it is, and
So
know.
ground improvements are included in the project, period. That's, and they were planned as rammed aggregate piers, which is a certain type of ground improvement. And we just wanted to know what the difference would be if we were to go with this other method of ground improvements. So that's what we're looking at there with respect to these numbers, just to get a sense of the difference if we were to go in these directions versus what we scoped and priced in the DD set.
What is the difference in number 4 where the upper parking lot? I thought the upper parking lot was part of the 220.
It is, but what we wanted to understand was in SD, upon which the budget was based, we had less of an expansion of the Landrigan parking lot. We were able to push it out further to accommodate more spaces. So again, we just wanted to capture the difference between what we had included in SD versus what we are showing in DD. And yes, it is in, the whole thing is in the 220 million right now.
So it's not.
But if you wanted to go back to the smaller parking lot or
Right.
improvements, you would save $450,000.
Exactly.
No, this is an alternate or value engineering, Joe.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right.
In other words, this is just for knowledge. That's all this is.
All right.
is to Understand where the numbers.
Now, are we ever going to discuss all the alternates as a group to decide on each and every one of them? Or we don't have to? I
We
see
don't
alternate
have to.
engineering, with value engineering, I'm hearing we don't need to do because of the numbers, but alternates are still things we may want to do or may not want to do, right? Like they're not, I don't consider them the same as value engineering.
All depends on what the numbers come back at.
And
right?
so that,
There'll be two numbers.
Yeah.
And if it can fit into the budget, then we say, do we want to do it?
we come back to this list and discuss.
Correct.
I think, Phil, these are the noted as alternates. It's probably a little confusing that because they're not true bid alternates at this point, they were pricing alternates. And at some point down the line, I'm sure there's going to be discussion about the actual list of alternates that go into the final bid documents and the order of them and all that. But I think the word alternate, it may be a little misleading. It's really pricing alternates. That's a informational exercise as opposed to a true alternate.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just good to keep track of them as we move to the next phase.
Right.
That's helpful. I understand. Yeah, so we'll discuss. I get it. Yeah, thanks.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Lynn?
Okay. So, we have not, we're in the midst of putting together, the requirements for the design development submission. So, I just wanted to go through, what we are including in the design development submission. We will send everyone out a copy, but, as of right now, all of these things have been taken care of. And we're in the midst of packaging it all up. But there was a list of OPM deliverables that we had to take care of. We've sent them all over to SMMA to incorporate with their list of deliverables. As part of the OPM deliverables, bonds deliverables were included in that. And then there was it's not on here. There's a set of just general requirements that were included in the appendix. But the table of contents for the submission was provided to you guys in your meeting packets. And again, you've seen, for the most part, all of these things in one shape or form or another. This is just formalizing it and collecting it and putting it into a package to submit to MSBA.
There any
So
questions? or
we will
comments?
be providing you a copy of it before we submit it.
And there will be a quiz on this at our next meeting.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions on this?
And this has to be submitted Tuesday, right?
Yes,
Okay,
or the first, August 1st.
Tuesday.
Is it- Okay, Tuesday.
Any questions or comments?
Joe,
Hearing
do you
none.
need, good. Lynn, are you gonna need Joe's wet signature on this?
Nope, no
Okay.
signature at all. This is, the design development submission is a required submission and all this content is required, but it's not a submission that has to go before the MSBA board or anything like that. This is almost a review set that goes before the project management and MSBA, just to make sure that we've addressed all these issues and, get an update on where we are with the project.
All right, Lynn, do we have a SMA presentation and then we vote on the submittal? Is that what this process
Yes.
is? Tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing.
And Joe, if you could give me sharing ability, we wanted to just quickly share. I think one of the more exciting parts of the report are the new set of renderings that the team's been working on over, say, the last 6 weeks or so. Before these get put into the report and go out into the world, take a moment to enjoy the work of the whole team. Let's see, get my screens correct here.
I gave
Does
it
Phil,
to you.
does Phil have a question?
Phil? Phil, you had a hand up?
No,
Okay.
I didn't mean to. If I did, sorry.
Okay. all
Okay,
right.
so I think I have 9 images here. Again, this is the work of the entire team, including you all who have had representatives on our design focus groups. And so it's really such a huge team effort. We've had input from the landscape and site designers, interior designers, architects. And so here we are with an overview of the project, which is basically the three big elements, obviously the building, the open space, and the circulation, which includes, of course, parking. And, you know, just demonstrating how the building will nestle into its new home and create a more of a civic space out in front of it that has the new Sean F. Beasley track and field. A pretty exciting view, which I won't linger too long on. I know it's probably been a long day for everyone, but this is fun. This is the fun part of the job. So main entry approach scene. So maybe arriving at school in the morning and looking at the main entry with the media center glazed element over the top of it, with the gym and health and wellness on the left and classrooms on the right. You can see the efforts we've made in terms of providing some degree of protection at the media center glazing. And we had looked at several options for that. And so what we've arrived at is a sort of a wood screen that's embedded in the glazing, which is a fairly low maintenance option. And we've incorporated the materiality that the group was looking for in terms of matching somewhat the brick coloration of the galvan, though at a different sort of pattern, a little bit more fine grain, if you will, but a variety of different colors contributing to the sort of modeling effect. As we work our way around up toward Landrigan Field in the southeast corner of the building, we see a whole series of educational and gathering space outside the school. So, you know, again, talking about a whole campus approach, showing, you know, a high degree of usability for the landscape features, and also showing the high performance aspect of the building itself with these sort of louvered sunshade elements mainly along the south facing portions of the building. And it gives it this sort of horizontal orientation, if you will. This is a space that is adjacent to the science classrooms, which are sort of gathered in these stacks of windows and expressed. And then to the right, you can see up on level 2, the outdoor terrace space that is connected to the classrooms and has a greenhouse. So again, trying to create learning space pretty much on every square foot that we can find in the project. The central outdoor commons is more art-based, and so some of the activity here has some artwork going on, social gathering. There are 2 outdoor classroom spaces out here. We're depicting kind of a fall scene, so hopefully you get the sense of being able to step into the image and beyond to the right-hand side, walking right into the dining common space, which leads us to the interior. So we have 2 views of the dining commons. We've shifted away from the view toward the that we had at the entry on the right, getting a view to the auditorium entrance, sort of on the left-hand side of the image. We can see back to the outdoor space we just looked at, the learning stair in the center. The palette of materials is fairly simple. Again, the ceiling is a metal panel ceiling or metal slat that looks like wood grain. So it gives it a good degree of warmth. And I think there's a nice sort of interplay of the different materials on the floors, walls, ceiling throughout the space. On the left is a view sort of hovering up higher, so you can see the relationship to the media center library. and the ability to really look out and through the space and have a high degree of connectivity. One aspect of these views, and I would say that these are at probably 90 to 95% of where they will eventually go, is that in the fall, our environmental graphics team will work on creating imagery that will go on the walls. There might be installations and such that are based on the surveys that we've sent out to students, teachers, and staff. And we'll be putting those in the digital imagery as we go toward the winter. So again, look, two views, one looking down through the space with the overlook of Beasley Oval, the new configuration on the right, and then the right-hand view actually turning and looking directly out. So you can see the panorama that's created by that element and the protective nature of that glazing screen up above that might recall some of the rattan work and imagery that we started out with when we talked about interiors. The last image is the new performing arts theater, call it the new Savings Bank Theater, which will be extremely high performance in terms of music performance, theater, speaking engagements, assemblies, just a super highly functional room, and we feel has come together in terms of materials, picking up some of the language of the wood elements from the dining commons and letting them flow through. But the focus is really at the stage and the proscenium. And here we're depicting kind of an after school practice moment. And it feels like you've come in and peeked into the room and seeing some of the teaching and learning activity that is, again, we hope throughout the school. So hope you like those.
Any questions or comments?
I think they look great, especially that, you know, overview of the whole school with the track out front and everything. I think that, you know, really cool to see these. So thanks for having them updated for us.
Bill?
Agree. I was just going to say they look great. Thank you so much to everyone working on those.
Any
Just a
other-
quick one. What is the seating capacity in that media center?
In the theater?
At
it's
the
around
auditorium?
600?
What is it?
I think it's around 600, isn't it, Brian?
In the auditorium, 667.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Lynn?
I move, Mr. Chairman, that we vote to approve submitting the 100% design development submission to the Mass School Building Authority, MSBA, as presented to us this evening by SMMA and our OPM.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Chip,
Yes.
Wayne,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
unanimous. Off it goes.
Thank you. Just quickly, to wrap things up, our next, meeting is scheduled for August 10th. We're gonna be, as soon as we get the design development submission off to MSBA, SMMA will be starting the 60% construction document phase, which, is set to go to estimators, I think, near the end of October. So we will be focusing the next couple of months on getting all of the permitting and regulatory agency approvals. So when we complete the 60%, I think we have one early package that we're going to be submitting. And then at the end of January, we're gonna be looking for another early package that will have a lot of the foundation steel and elevators and ground improvements included in it. So all of this is marching toward construction or bidding of the main package in April of 2024. And construction starting around that same time frame.
Any questions or comments on the schedule?
I just noticed I was putting the schedule on my calendar and December 12th was a Tuesday and all the other ones are Thursday. I just didn't know if that was on purpose or not.
No, I don't think so. I think that might be a mistake.
Good going, Mark, catcher.
Thank you, Mark. So the
Wow,
14th.
that's an organized person.
No, not really, but
Putting it into his calendar before it's even there, I don't know.
Calendar, what's that?
you
Yeah,
gotta be ready.
that's right.
Joe, is this the appropriate time to talk about the formation of the working group?
It certainly is.
So for,
Generally, what we've done in the past on most projects is that we'll have a smaller working group of 3 members to work and deal with maybe issues that come up, that we don't have these monthly meetings, that answers may be needed, and review the development as it goes along. Maybe on a weekly basis or depending upon when needed, to be more appropriately. And in the past, we've done so for the public safety building, for the Walton, and for the Galvin. So
So as we've gone through design, we've had these weekly meetings called leadership meetings, which have involved representatives of the PBC and the district. Now that we're getting more into the construction documents, it's going to shift a little bit. We may not always need the district's input on things. So it'll be more in the PBC's purview, but these meetings will be intended. We've done this in the past. If we need input from other people, we'll invite them into the meetings as needed, but this will be another focus and be primarily on the PBC as we move forward, as opposed to the previous part was more district focused.
so what this group can also do, it's meant to expedite construction and the ability to keep moving forward. So the PBC as a whole gives the working group authority to approve change orders up to a certain amount. So that, you know, if you're sitting there and a change order comes to move a standpipe 6 inches one way or the other, that somebody can go out into the field, see it, understand it, make the decision to approve it without having to come to a whole large PBC meeting. Otherwise, every change order would have to be approved by us as an entire group. And there certainly are some that need to be. And the accumulation of all these little ones also need to be. And I think most of you have been through most of the public safety building now and understood that how that process works. To remind you, Phil, myself and Joe were the working group on the public safety building. Myself, Joe, and who were Walton, Joe?
boy, that's a good question. Tim Demers was, I think, for a while.
Tim Demers might have been.
Yep,
And he's
yep.
since moved on.
Yep.
And who was it at the Galvin?
You and me and John
Ignacio.
Ignacio,
That's right.
right?
For at least part of it, yeah,
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. yeah, the start, certainly.
Yes.
So that's what it is. It's a. Ask Phil if it's a time commitment. And he did $10 million project. This is a $280 million project, you know.
We're gonna be doing 10 million a month.
Is that, so it's fast moving. It's fun to be that involved, but it's a lot of work. So Traditionally, it's been Joe and I and another person, so if you're interested, I would say let Joe know. And then we can talk about it and figure it out.
All right, anybody have any questions? All right, as.
I don't hear a lot of clamoring to become a member of the group.
Yeah, I know,
Joe.
yeah, not everybody at once, okay? It's just they didn't want to spend more time with you, Chip, that's all. Or maybe it's me, I don't know. But just let me know. So we'll go from there. You don't have to make a decision tonight, but just please let me know if you wish. And send me an email or give me a call. All right? Right, is there any other issues regarding the high school?
That's all I have for tonight.
Okay, Dave,
Yes, sir.
are you going to, are we gonna discuss in August, the August 10th meeting, the possibility of that parking garage, the parking space,
The extended parking,
the extended
parking
parking?
lot H.
Yes.
Okay, no, I mean,
In other words-
I
in other
thought
words,
maybe
he
you were
doesn't
gonna
have a
talk about it
spreadsheet
tonight.
for tonight.
All right, no problem. I'm just, I'm just,
It didn't make the agenda, so I'm not prepared to discuss it, but,
no, and I don't want to put you on the spot if you're not prepared, but why don't we do it on August 10th? That'll give sufficient time, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we're clear on what it is. I think we're just now trying to figure out when it happens, and
Yeah, okay.
hopefully by then we'll have a clarity on that.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Phil, you raised your hand?
I just don't think it's ever come down, Joe.
I don't know why, yeah, I don't even show that it's raised on my end, but I see
All right,
it.
there he
I
is.
have no
There's-
idea I have no idea. I'm just showing you I'm alive, I guess.
All right,
Look
so,
at, that's
yeah, I
me.
mean, do they do this in Scotland or something? the whole
It must
time?
be
Yeah,
a
it's
new
a-
tradition.
It's a
Yeah,
new tradition.
I don't
But
even know why
Mr.
it's up there.
Chairman, even with Phil's raised hand, I move that we adjourn.
All right, is there a second? I hope, I don't care if there isn't. All in favor, click leave meeting, and thanks for everybody being here tonight. Take care, everybody.
Night.
Have a
All
good
right.
night.
Stay cool.